everyone. Hope you enjoyed the break. Our next speaker is Mrs. Susan Pereles. Susan Pereles is a Director of Development for Autism Speaks, the national organization that aims to raise funds for autism research and to promote autism awareness. She has been the director of the Autism Speaks 5K race in Potomac for the past 15 years. The race combines her passions for running and for helping others, and it is now the most successful athletic fundraising event for autism in the United States. Please join me in welcoming Mrs. Susan Pereles.
Thank you, Meredith. So this is a story about passion, paths, and people who light the way. I am the autism lady. They call me that because improving the lives of all those who struggle with autism is my passion. And it is because of this passion that I've raised over $3 million with a 5K race that I started 16 years ago here in Potomac, held every July 4th. And before I discovered this passion, I didn't think I could ask someone for 1 cent, let alone thousands of dollars. But now I know I can, and now I know I'm good at it. And I didn't know I could plan an event for one runner, let alone thousands of runners. But now I do, and I'm good at that too. And I didn't think I could face one of my greatest fears of standing before all of you here today and talk about how I discovered my passion and how my passion lit my path. But here I am. You see, life is full of surprises. Curveballs are going to come at you from every direction, and the path is not linear. When I was your age, I had no idea what I wanted to be when I got older. My mom thought being a nurse would be a good thing to do, that it was a great education for life. I wasn't so sure. I watched the soap opera General Hospital when I was in high school, and I thought it was a lot like that. Lots of gossip at the nurse's station, cute outfits, cute doctors, and for those of you in high school who might watch Grey's Anatomy, maybe a little bit like that. A whole lot of drama, but not so much. But I always knew that I liked helping people. So show of hands, how many of you actually know what you want to be when you get older? I can't really see, but I'll throw out some ideas. Maybe a doctor, lawyer, engineer, teacher, counselor, scientist. I'm not where I thought I would be today, but I realize how profound decisions are influenced purely by the people that we meet. The people that you meet will light your path. My mom, nothing but love and light. She was the ultimate giver. She was involved in almost everything in the community where I grew up. She started a number of volunteer groups at our local community hospital. She served as PTA president for years. She was on the school board, library board, YMCA board, you name it, my mom served on it. I watched her give from the moment that I was born to the moment that she died. I have 2 older brothers, John and Mark. Mark was your typical older brother. Loved him a lot, but boy, when we were growing up, did he get under my skin sometimes. But as we grew up, he would become a huge influence on my life. He literally lit my path in high school. Mark is the reason I run today. If you don't know it already, I help coach girls cross country here at Churchill, and I've been doing that for the last 8 or 9 years. Mark ran in high school, and he ran for Duke. And he instilled in me a love and a passion, lifelong, for running. If you find something that you love, you can make it part of your life, personally and professionally. Now, after high school, I headed off to the University of Pennsylvania, and I did become a nurse. I met my husband at Penn. Passion and light. Now, some of you, when you head off to college, you may meet your spouse or significant other, and they'll bring tremendous light to your path. They'll be your friend, your confidant, your mentor. My husband has been all of these things for me over the years and was a huge collaborator on the race that I eventually founded. So soon it'll be time for so many of you to head off to college, and there'll be lots of uncertainty that lies ahead. You'll be paying the same for your college tuition, whether you take advantage of all of the great things around you, or whether you ignore all that stuff. How many of you actually know what it costs to go to college these days? I know that I do. I have 2 children right now attending private colleges, and this year alone it cost us over $60,000 each for them. So even if you decide to go to one of our private schools in the state of Maryland, you're still going to pay over $100,000 over the course of 4 years. So these days, the funny thing is, going to college is like riding on an airplane. You're all on the same airplane, and you're all paying the same first-class fare. So it's up to you whether you take advantage of your first-class ticket. So be friends with people not in your normal circle. And do things and join activities outside your comfort zone. And take classes that you've never taken before. Who knows what you'll discover about yourself? And by all means, stretch your wings and expand your boundaries and fly first class. I know I did when I went to college, and then I headed off into the real world and took my first job. Curveball number 1. I started working as a nurse, and I quickly realized that hospital nursing wasn't for me. Now, for those of you that are headed off to college, you're going to be asked to pick a major fairly soon. They'll give you a couple of years, but it may take you a while to find the right fit. Or better yet, for those of you who are seniors, I'm sure you are excited and anticipating going to your dream school. Well, you may get to your dream school and realize after a few months that the place you've chosen, dreamed about, is not the right fit for you. Don't let these things frustrate you. It's just as important to learn what you don't like as what you do like. And you've heard this phrase before, but I'm going to pound it into you. You learn so much more from your failures than you do from your successes. So I worked as a nurse for a couple of years, and then I headed off to graduate school at Johns Hopkins. That was more my style. Looking at issues on a global scale. So big problems, big solutions. And after grad school, my career path would take twists and turns. But ultimately, I decided to be a full-time mom with 3 children, 4 and under. And let me tell you, being a full-time mom was a full-time job, and there was no shame there. But my head, most of the time, was spinning at that stage. Between diapers and naps and carpool and preschool and play dates and doctor's appointments, life was really, really busy. And it wasn't really what I thought my life was going to be like at that stage. And my brothers, they were in the same boat. They were young parents with lots of little kids, and it was crazy. But when we look back on those days, it was fun. That's what we were supposed to be doing. It was all fun until that day in July of 2000, when we were thrown the biggest curveball of all. My brother Mark's son, Shant, his 4th child, was diagnosed with autism. Autism. I didn't know anything about this disorder back then. Here I was, an Ivy League educated nurse, and I had never received a single lecture on autism in college or in graduate school. The extent of my knowledge of autism came from Dustin Hoffman's portrayal in the movie Rain Man. So autism or autism spectrum disorders are terms for a group of disorders of brain development. It's a spectrum disorder, so you're going to meet people who function at various levels across the spectrum. Major hallmarks are impairments in social interaction, verbal and nonverbal communication, and repetitive behaviors. You may meet some students at Churchill who just don't quite fit in. They may have difficulty making and maintaining eye contact, or they may not quite get social cues and have trouble making and maintaining friendships. And then you'll meet other students who are part of our autism program here at Churchill, and they may not talk at all, or they may need help with just about everything. And what we like to say at Autism Speaks is if you've met one person with autism, you've met just one person with autism. It's that different from person to person. But back to my brother's family. They were up in Boston, and they were struggling with this diagnosis in their 2.5-year-old child. They were a family in crisis, and I was living down here in Potomac, 400 miles away, feeling absolutely helpless. I didn't know what I could do. I knew that there were people researching the problem, and that definitely wasn't me. But I thought maybe I could help the researchers. Research needs money. And at that point in my life, I was still running, and I was still racing. And I thought to myself, maybe I could take the passion that my brother instilled in me as a teenager, and use that to do something good. I didn't know if I would be successful, but I knew in my heart that I had to try. So 3 people lit my path and brought me to July 4th, 2001. My mom, she gave me the strength and the courage to take on this challenge. My brother, Mark, gave me the outlet, the means, the running to make the difference. And my nephew, Shant, he gave me and continues to give me the inspiration every single day. So today, Shant is 18 years old. He doesn't talk, and he has severe autism. Ideally, he'd be like many of you who are seniors in the audience, trying to decide where he's going to go to college, looking at his list. Maybe he'd be coming up with some elaborate promposal, like some of you guys in the audience. A lot of pressure. And be graduating from his high school, Belmont High School, where his 3 older siblings graduated. And then he'd be heading off to college and leaving his parents as empty nesters. But instead, he'll stay at his autism school until he's 22. And in the meantime, his parents will work fairly frantically to try to find the best residential and job placement for him. And sadly, this is the situation for so many teens and young adults like him across the country. And I know it sounds depressing, but this is the reality for close to 70 million families across the world. And that's why I keep working. And as I've worked on this race and for Autism Speaks, I've discovered my gift, the ability to do the ask for money. Because this cause needs money for research. And I'm able to go to people and companies and ask them to support research. Why? Because I feel passionately about this cause, and we need solutions. When I started working on this issue back in 2000, 2001, 1 in 500 children had autism. Today, 1 in 68 are affected, 1 in 42 of them are boys. Every 11 minutes, another child is diagnosed. So my journey down this path began almost 17 years ago, when my brother and sister-in-law sat down with their pediatrician, and she said to them, "I am so terribly sorry, but your son has autism." 2016 will mark our 16th Autism Speaks 5K here in Potomac. If you haven't been with us before, I ask that you join us this July 4th. The race is on a Monday. I told you, I know how to make the ask. Now I want you all to discover your strength. Seek it out. Let others help you bring it out. I still enjoy my title as the Autism Lady. My passion has been to shine a light on a cause that has been woefully underfunded. Every malady out there needs people who are passionate. You can make a profound difference when you discover your inner passion. I have no idea how many people I've influenced along the way, whose paths I've changed or lit up because of what I've done. And neither do you, yet. Your possibilities are infinite. I'd like to leave you with one final quote from Sir Winston Churchill. We make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. Thank you.